was the Stocksbridge Bypass ghost stories that I shared with you earlier in the year. If you can't remember, then a little recap. There was the ghostly monk that was seen looking over the bridge, and he also kept appearing in people's cars and they could see them in their rear view mirror. And then we had the ghostly children that were singing Ring of Roses, dancing around that pylon. And lastly, there was the 2 police officers that went up to investigate and found that their car in the middle of the night, it was banging and things like that. It was quite a spooky story. Well, if you were interested in that story, then today's video is for you, because I've got a little update. I'm interrupting the schedule today with something a little bit different. Now, some of you might remember that earlier on in the year, I produced a video on Yorkshire's haunted roads. There was one road in particular that got a lot of attention. Now that, of course, was, if you have seen the video, that of course was the Stocksbridge Bypass, with the stories of the monk and those ghostly children. Now, I'd completely forgotten when I made the video that this story also featured on the 90s TV show Strange But True. Now, what an amazing show that was. If you guys saw it, let me know in the comments. I just wish they'd bring it back. It was fantastic. Anyway, after I released the video, I got quite a lot of messages and comments and emails about your experiences. So I've decided to release this video today just to share some of your comments. But also, there was one email in particular that really caught my attention. And this was a video. And I have now the video, and I have got permission to share that video with you. So I'd like you to watch it. And I'd like to share the experience of the person that made the video. And I want you to decide for yourselves whether you think this is proof of the afterlife or a flash of the camera or what. It'd be really interesting to see everybody else's opinions. And if you have got a spooky story about the Stocksbridge Bypass, then this is still happening. So feel free to share your comments under this video. So in this video, I'm going to just do a little bit of a brief recap about what happened on the Stocksbridge Bypass. Then I'll share you those comments. Then I'll share you that video and I'll get your opinion. Okay, so that's enough waffle. Let's wander. If you haven't seen that video on Yorkshire's haunted roads, which you're welcome to watch at any point, it is still live on the channel, then I will just do you a little bit of a catch-up from that original video. The Stocksbridge Bypass isn't just a road, it's the stuff of legends. Built in the 1980s to ease traffic around the steel town of Stocksbridge, it quickly gained a far more chilling reputation. One of the first reports came from 2 security guards working the night shift. It was a quiet September evening until they noticed a group of children dancing and singing beneath a pylon. They were dressed in old-fashioned clothes and they disappeared when approached. That same pair of guards later spotted a monk standing on the half-built P-Royd bridge. He didn't move, just stared. And that bridge is now nicknamed Ghost Bridge for obvious reasons. The guards were so shaken, they contacted both the police and a local priest, and believe it or not, the police actually followed it up. On the 11th of September 1987, 2 police officers saw a ghostly figure standing next to their car. As they drove away, their car was rocked by violent bangs, though no one was around, and their story made front-page news in the Sheffield Star. And there's more. One elderly woman who lived nearby claimed to have seen the monk long before the bypass was built. Others have seen him too, staring over the valley, looking at them in their rear-view mirrors, and even sitting silently in the passenger seat. The bypass officially opened on Friday the 13th of May 1988, but its story was far from over. Within 10 years, 14 people had died on the road, hundreds more were injured, and it was labelled an accident black spot. One couple driving on New Year's Eve 1997 were so terrified by a figure in the road that they swerved and braked, only to find that no one was there. Police blamed reckless driving. Locals weren't so sure. Now, whether you believe in ghosts or not, the stories of the Stocksbridge Bypass have continued for nearly 4 decades, and the road's dark reputation shows no sign of fading. Now, since that video went live, some of you have shared your own experiences in the comments and via email. And what's really eerie is that some of these are very similar to the original stories. So I've picked a few out, which I'm going to read to you in a second. These are the ones I thought were most compelling, shall we say. But if you've got more to add, guys, then feel free to comment on this video. Let's have this as a bit of an investigation, because there's obviously something happening up on Stocksbridge Bypass. Okay, so some of these comments. We've got David Robinson, 4553. I used to drive for National Express and used the Stocksbridge Bypass on a regular basis around 2 in the morning, a run we called the Red Eye. And yes, on 2 occasions I slowed down after seeing someone in the road, only to find nothing there. I wasn't the only driver to talk about such occurrences. Thank you, David. Now we've got Ed Ransom, 1861. I can guarantee you that Stocksbridge Bypass is a creepy one. I've done nights on there a few years ago and you always feel like you're being watched. It's a bit of an eerie one. I swear I had seen someone walk across our road closure as well. Honestly, it's a slightly creepy one. Now somebody called Daz got in touch from the Urbanators. Hi Claire, my name is Daz. I come from Sheffield and me and a few mates used to hang around up Stocksbridge on that bridge near the pylon. Me and a friend have experienced a few things happening up there. We have heard the kids before, or think we have, but not singing. My friend had banging on his car, but no one was there. And when he got to his car, it would not start until he had rolled it down the hill. Then we've got Win Jin Sin John. A guy I used to work with was on the bypass in the early hours when a car with its full beam on came towards him. He flashed them to let them know their full beam was on, and then the headlights just disappeared. And then we've got the last one of them I'm going to share with you today, because I want to get on to sharing you that video. Chris David, 1410. I have been around that bridge a number of times. The first time my friend claimed he was poked in the back. An hour later, I too was poked in the back. It was not a minor nudge, but a great, whopping, unmistakable thing. Now for this next bit, I wasn't expecting. So I read all your comments. I thought they were incredible, and I do appreciate everybody that comments and gets involved in the story. But one viewer didn't just comment. He got in touch via email and he shared some actual footage of an experience that he'd had up on the Stocksbridge Bypass, up on the P-Roy Bridge. Now, I have been given permission to share it with you all. Andrew does have his own YouTube channel. He's the Yorkshire Ghost Guy, so you can go and look more into it because he's done a few videos about this subject. But I'll let you decide what you think you're seeing. There is a bit of a backstory to this though. So this video was taken during a live stream event, and Andrew didn't realise this was on the camera until he got home and he started looking into it.
There is something. I don't know if it's a case of, of them saying, you've interrupted my, where I live, so I'm coming home with you for a bit. So if there is anything here, please don't follow me home, like I think you did last time. You've got to stay here. You can't follow us. Just pass me. Thank you. So I'm sorry if that weren't a very intriguing live, entertaining live, should I say. Here to the pylon. Bear in mind this is at night as well, very dark. I didn't want to get my son on the picture, and I didn't want to dazzle any cars below on the bypass. So that's the bypass. And there's the famous or infamous pylon. We didn't see anything or anyone at the time. And I'm sure we would have I'm really sure he would have. It's also worth pointing out that on the night, the only light came from the headlights on the road. The camera wasn't lit, so again, it was simply filming what was in front of the car.
So this begs the question, what do you think? Do you think there is something there? Do you think something was in front of Andrew's car on that day up on the Stocksbridge Bypass? Whatever it was, he told me that it's put him off doing investigations. I don't think he's going to do them anymore. So it's definitely, I think he thinks that there's something out there that he shouldn't be messing with. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments. Now, I've got to admit, I'm a bit sceptical about it. I am a skeptic at heart, but there have been a lot of reported sightings of this monk. And people have told me that there's no actual evidence of monasteries up there, but there is something historical up there. There is something that did happen. And I want to get back to the story of the children. There have been a lot of tragedies that have happened in Yorkshire and in that area in particular. So if that's of interest to you, stay tuned, because next week I have a brand new series hitting the channel. And I'm starting off with a real life tragedy that happened very, very close to the Stocksbridge Bypass, involving children. And I'm not saying it's the same children, but it did raise a lot of questions in my mind as to whether there was a connection, whether there was a link. But I'm all for the history, so I wanted to do a video on the historical side of this story anyway. And I thank Darren, another viewer, for bringing it to my attention, because without him, this story I would not have even known about. So if you're interested in that, make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the bell, and make sure you like this video to see what's coming next. And thank you once again for everybody that's got involved. I hope you don't have nightmares. And yeah, take care. I've been Claire. This has been The Wanderlust Way, and you've been amazing.